I'm sure you've all by now heard or remember about Bishop Marianne Buddy of the Diocese of Washington. She's the Episcopal bishop in the Diocese of Washington. And during a service that they held, a prayer service during the inauguration with Donald Trump and J.D. Vance in attendance, she asked Donald Trump, in the name of our God, that's what she said. She said, you've recently spoke about feeling God's loving hands upon you. So in the name of our God, please be merciful to those in the country who are afraid. And she was talking specifically about migrants who are living in the U.S., immigrants who are living in the U.S., and LGBTQ and the LGBTQ plus community. Please have mercy. In the name of our God, the God that you and I both profess, please have mercy. And it's been rough, right? It's been rough for her. She's, as somebody mentioned here in the comments, she's received death threats. People were calling for her to lose her job. People are calling her woke, which she probably is, and I think she wears it well. And people were calling her a radical leftist, and she's not a bishop, and they were attacking her appearance and her haircut and whatever else they could grab on. I still haven't heard a theological argument to what she was asking. But there's been many people who have said some really horrible, awful things in her direction. Anyhow, Congress, some members of Congress, 20 some odd members of Congress, I believe, they wrote this. They are presenting this. They are bringing House Resolution number 59 forward. And the title is Expressing the Sense of the House of Representatives that the sermon given by the Right Reverend Marian Edgar Buddy at the National Prayer Service on January 21st, 2025, at the National Cathedral was a display of political activism and condemning its distorted message. Again, this is something that was presented. This was something that was presented in the Oversight and Government, the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee. I have no idea where this is going. I have no idea where it is right now. But this is a resolution basically that says we as Congress don't like what the Right Reverend Marian Edgar Buddy said in her sermon during a prayer service at the National Cathedral, which is her diocesan cathedral. So in her cathedral, in her church. We don't like what she said. We consider it political activism, and we are condemning its distorted message. A friend of mine sent this to me. A friend of ours sent this to me. And, first off, I'm looking at it, I'm reading it, and I'm saying, well, wait a second. The vision of church and state. This is the government writing, for all intents and purposes, a piece of legislation. No, it's not a law, but they're not going to throw her in jail. I don't think they're going to throw her in jail if it ever goes through. This is basically an official statement from Congress saying, bad, Bishop Buddy. We condemn that the message that you shared in your sermon during the prayer service at your cathedral. This is them jumping all over the line dividing church and state. As a matter of fact, this is quite simply them jumping into church business. They're, in effect, making a theological statement. The government, with this piece of legislation, H.R. 59, they are expressing their theological understanding. By condemning what she's saying, they are saying what she offered in that sermon was not proper. They're claiming that their understanding of Scripture, their understanding of the faith, isn't distorted by claiming hers is. Now, we've seen this coming up to this point. We've had churches praising one politician over another, praising one political agenda over another. We've had churches and pastors stand at the pulpit saying, I am telling you, my congregation, that you should vote for this person, this guy, generally speaking, this guy. You should vote for this guy. I'm telling you, I want him to run for Senate, and you are going to support him. You should vote for him. And if you don't vote for him, there is something wrong with you. We have heard preachers say, if you vote Democrat, you're evil. You're possessed, because Democrats are evil and possessed by demons. But I haven't, to any extent, heard government doing something like this. And I've actually gone out and looked, because Joe Biden was told by a few Roman Catholic priests, it made international news. He was told, you are not welcomed to come to this table, to receive communion, to receive the Eucharist, because of your position on abortion. You are out. You are not going to receive. And that made the news. But I didn't see Congress saying that. I didn't see Congress coming up with a bill, a House resolution, saying we are standing in defiance and we want that priest or that bishop or that archbishop or that cardinal to understand we do not approve of the message that they spoke from the pulpit, of their sermon, or the distorted message that it offered. I haven't found it. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen Congress write a resolution that spoke about any of those preachers who at the pulpit publicly and whose videos are out there online, they actually brag about bringing politics into their sermon. I haven't seen Congress write a resolution saying there is a division of church and state, and we stand in opposition to you expressing a blatantly political message where you promote one candidate and diminish the other. I haven't seen that. This is the first for me. Right? House Resolution 59 tells us that they are willing to get involved in our theological understandings, which means they may pick sides in the whole which denomination is best question. They may pick sides on which denomination is really God's denomination. You may end up seeing them draw lines in the sand that if you are of this denomination, then you are not really a Christian. Tucker Carlson the other day in an interview, he's an Episcopalian, and he said that it's not a Christian church, that it's pagan, or something along that line, that we're not following Jesus. Again, gave no reasons why he would believe that, gave no theological understanding that would say, oh, this is why, right? He didn't tell the interviewer how the church was missing the mark. He just said the church was missing the mark. And in fairness, for fans of Tucker Carlson, that's all it needs. That's all they need. They just need to know, oh yeah, they're missing the mark. They're not even Christian. Tucker Carlson said so. You can't answer why, apart from Tucker Carlson said so. But you're seeing those lines drawn. These are Christians, these are not Christians. So we've had this conversation before. I think I did a video on it. I don't feel comfortable saying these people are Christian or these aren't. It's not my job. I'm not there to judge. I'm not there to make that announcement. I'm not there to make that proclamation. They're Christians, they're not Christians. That's up to Jesus. You will know them by their fruits. The world will know them by their fruits. The world can decide whether or not they think they're Christian, but I'm never going to say it. But in this case, I think you could argue that Congress in this case is saying who is and who is not Christian. I think you could argue that in this case, Congress is saying what message is and is not Christian. By claiming her message was distorted, Congress is making a judgment about her message that she preached in her sermon, in a prayer service, a real official prayer service that took place in her cathedral, her church, her place of worship. Congress is, if this were to go through, well, even if it doesn't go through, this congressional representative is offering us quite plainly that as far as he's concerned, the state has every right to impose itself upon religion, upon people of faith, impose itself theologically on what people believe. The state doesn't get an opinion about what we say from the pulpit. They don't. They shouldn't have an opinion about what we say from the pulpit. I agree. Like, those preachers should not be presenting one candidate over another. I'm with you there. But when it comes to theological statements, the state doesn't get an opinion. You know my stance on same-gender marriage. Okay? I'm for it. You know my stance on abortion. I am pro-choice. You don't have to agree with me. The state doesn't have to agree with me, but they don't get to have an opinion, an official opinion like this. The state just doesn't have a right in this moment to say anything about her sermon. There's enough people that are expressing their opinions about what she said for the state to come along, Congress to come along with House Resolution 59. Again, they're making a theological statement, and that's not their job. What are you and I supposed to learn from this? Well, hold. It doesn't matter what government says about us. It doesn't matter what government has to say about our theology. Wear it like a badge of honor, yet another badge of honor for Bishop Buddy. But in these moments, wear it as a badge of honor. See it as a sign that you're probably on the right track. See it as a sign that you're probably teaching the right thing. When the authoritarian stands up and points their finger at you and calls you evil, you're probably on the right track. When a person gets angry because you've asked them to show mercy, and they get their cronies in Congress to literally write a bill, literally write a resolution condemning what it is you had to say as a distorted Christian message, a message that you shared in your church during a prayer service, an actual religious event, and in a sermon. Take it as a sign that you're on the right track. You know, with everything that's happening, maybe that's what we should be looking at. Maybe we should be looking at, instead of just getting upset with H.R. 59, which I kind of am, let's look at H.R. 59 as a sign that we are moving in the right directions. Let's remember Jesus' words that, blessed are those who are persecuted for my name's sake. Blessed are those who are persecuted for living the way I've asked them to live, for saying the words I've asked them to say, for sharing my words. Blessed are they who are persecuted and condemned for living like I lived, for speaking like I spoke, for sharing the message that I shared. Let's take something like this, and instead of just getting angry about it, put it on the wall. Put it on the wall, frame it, keep it close. Let it be something that we're continuously looking at. Oh, that was a good day when I got those people upset enough by calling for love and mercy that they wrote that resolution, that somebody actually took the time to put this, to put pen to paper. That's a good day. A real Christian message got shared that day. Jesus was in the building that day when they were so threatened by mercy and love that they had to write that nonsense. We're doing good work. We're doing good work. We know we are doing good work when we can make people, congressional representatives, write something so foolish like that. We know we're doing good work when we threaten them so deeply that they feel the need to violate the separation of church and state. When Congress feels the need to violate the separation of church and state. Amen.